Balad. Arabic, Oomo to the first Oomuoush Oomooush plus or minus O terahertz Usha euro, at-Tajamuʿ al-Wa to the first Ana ad-Dīmūqraṭī to the first, or OMO, lit. Country or Nation, is an Israeli Arab political party in Israel led by Jamal Zahalka. It is sometimes called the National Democratic Alliance. Ideology: Balad is a political party whose stated purpose is the struggle to transform the State of Israel into a democracy for all its citizens, irrespective of national or ethnic identity. It opposes the idea of Israel as a solely Jewish state, and supports its recasting as a binational state. Balad also advocates that the State of Israel recognize Palestinian Arabs as a national minority, entitled to all rights that come with that status, including autonomy in education, culture and media. Since the party's formation, it has objected to every proposed state budget on the grounds that they have discriminated against the Arab population. The party supports creation of two states based on pre-1967 borders, with the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem to constitute a Palestinian state, and the implementation of UN Resolution 194 regarding the right of return to Palestinian refugees. Balad describes itself as a democratic progressive national party for the Palestinian citizens of Israel. History: Balad was formed and registered as a political party in 1995, by a group of young Israeli Arab intellectuals headed by Azmi Bishara. In the 1999 elections, Balad ran on a joint ticket with Ta'al, headed by MK Ahmad Tibai. They won 2 seats. However, a request was submitted that same year for the list to disband, and did so after the Knesset approved the request. Bishara remained its only member. In 2001, party leader Azmi Bishara gave a speech in Al-Farm on the 33rd anniversary of Israel's victory in the Six-Day War, deploring it, and later visited Syria and gave a speech mourning the death of Syria's president, Hafez al-Assad a year before, and expressing solidarity with Syria's and Hezbollah's fight against Israel. Upon his return to Israel, parliamentary immunity was removed from him by a vote of the Israeli Knesset, and in 2002 he was charged and indicted for supporting terrorist organizations against Israel and siding with her enemies, and also for violating Israel's emergency regulations in that he knowingly assisted Israeli citizens to enter Syria without approval of the Minister of Interior. The trial was however cancelled, after the High Court of Justice ruled in favor of a petition submitted by Bishara where he protested that his speeches were protected by legal immunity, which is granted to all Knesset members in order to allow them to fulfill their duties. His parliamentary immunity was immediately restored. Prior to the 2003 elections, the Central Elections Committee banned the party from running by a one-vote margin, claiming it did not respect Israel's legally mandated status as a Jewish state and that its leader supported terrorism. The move to ban Balad was initiated by Michael Kleiner, the leader of the right-wing Herut party, who alleged that Balad was a cover-up for illegal activity, and that it supports terror organizations, identifies with the enemy and acts against Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. The Gush Shalom activist group criticized the decision, saying it introduced in the committee the aggressive, predatory and racist attitudes of the majority of the extreme right, who they believe favor banning all Arab MKs. Bishara personally responded to the election committee's charges that he supported Hezbollah by saying, "I believe that a people living under occupation have the right to fight against it, but I never called on the Palestinians to embark on an armed struggle against Israel. I never supported violent activity." The Elections Committee had also voted to ban Ahmad Tibai of the Ta'al party, who had formed an electoral alliance with the left-wing Hadash coalition. However, the bans on both parties were overturned by the Israeli Supreme Court. Supreme Court Justice Michel Kshin told the Election Committee that Bishara's past expressions of support for Hezbollah in Lebanon had angered him, although he voted to allow him to run in the elections because Israel's democracy is strong and can tolerate irregular cases, and thought that there was insufficient evidence for the ban. Balad won 3 seats in the elections, filled by Bishara, Uzal Ta'a, and Jamal Zahalka. In the 2006 elections, Balad won 3 seats, which were taken by Bishara, Ta'a, and Zahalka. However, more controversy was to come when, After the 2006 Lebanon War, all three visited Syria and Lebanon in September 2006 and expressed solidarity for Hezbollah in its fight against Israel. Particularly strong statements were made by Bishara. They returned to Israel on September 16, saying they plan to return to Syria again if necessary. A police investigation was launched into their activities in enemy territories. Following this, Bishara was charged anew with supporting terrorism against Israelis, to which was added the charge of treason and various other criminal charges including receiving large sums of money from a foreign agent in return for his services, and money laundering. Although he promised to return from a few days' trip abroad to continue questioning by the authorities, after several weeks in other Arab states he instead resigned from the Knesset at the Israeli embassy in Cairo on April 22, 2007. Bishara denied the charges but did not return to Israel to face court proceedings. He was said to be considering staying abroad because he feared a long-term jail sentence and an end to his political career. Bishara was replaced in the Knesset by Said Nafar. Abroad, Bishara actively promoted political charges of apartheid against Israel in various Arab and Western venues, traveling widely. Nevertheless, he continued to accept Israeli pension payments made to former Knesset members for nearly 4 years, until, in February 2011, the Knesset passed a bill revoking pensions for lawmakers who have evaded an investigation or trial for serious offenses. On January 12, 2009, Balad was disqualified from the 2009 Israeli elections by the Central Elections Committee by a vote of 26-3, with one abstention. It was disqualified on grounds that it does not recognize the State of Israel and calls for armed conflict against it. Zahalka argued that the decision was related to Operation Cast Lead, and said that he is not surprised by it, because the vote was taken for political motives due to the war atmosphere. The committee members sought to increase their popularity at our expense on the backdrop of the elections. On January 19, Attorney General Menachem Mezuz said that he saw no grounds to prevent the Balad from taking part in the election, and noted that the decision was based on flimsy evidence. On January 21 the Supreme Court of Israel overturned the committee's decision by a majority of 8-1. Zahalka said, Balad stands by its platform. The court's decision is a victory to the Arab public and to anyone who seeks democracy. We call on everyone to back the notion of a people's state and a life of equality bar discrimination. Balad maintained its 3 seats in the Knesset after the 2009 elections. Comments on Iran. Hanain Zorbi, a Balad Knesset member, said in March 2009 that she was not worried about the prospect of Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. Instead she suggested that a nuclear-armed Iran would act as a counterpower to Israel. Zorbi also welcomed Iran's growing influence on Palestinian affairs, saying that Iran has played a more beneficial role in region than Jordan and Egypt because it stood more firmly against occupation than a lot of the Arab countries. Balad's chairman, Jamal Zahalka, said that Zorbi's comments represented an analysis, not a position, and did not constitute supporting a nuclear weapon in Iran. References. External links. Arabs 48 newspaper affiliated with Balad, Balad Knesset website.